Tom Aspinall, lovely to see you back on a media tour with a big fight on the horizon. Have you missed it?
What, media tours or fights?
Let's start with fights.
I definitely missed fights. Media tours, I missed it as well, you know. It's part of the, comes with the territory, doesn't it? It comes with the main event and all that stuff. And yeah, it's good that people want to interview you, you know what I mean? It's part of the job. You don't want to be doing all this stuff and nobody cares about it. So I've definitely missed it, yeah.
Been speaking to the team, they've been telling me as long as we keep your food levels at a certain level,
yeah,
then you're happy enough.
I'm basically like a giant baby, so if I got enough sleep, got enough food, got enough playtime, I'm all right. But if I don't have that, then probably going to get a moody version, yeah.
All right. Look, I reckon you'd be good at poker. You've got a pretty good level-headed way of presenting yourself. You always seem pretty calm. You've always got a smile on your face. I imagine that's been tested somewhat in the last 9 months or so. Yeah, for sure. But that's life, innit? It doesn't always go your way. And I've seen some quotes that was like smile in the face of adversity. And I like that a lot. I like that a lot. I don't like shying away from this kind of stuff, especially, this is why it's very important to me to come back to the O2, because it's like significant for me for winning the Volkov fight here, and everything was amazing that night. But so I had the high and the biggest high and the biggest low of my career in the O2, and I don't want to leave it at that. Like, I feel like I've got unfinished business and I've got bad memories there, and I don't want to run away from that. I want to run towards that and make it right, and I feel like that's what I do a lot. In life is I try and walk towards adversity and embrace it, not shy away from nothing. That is admirable, but what are you going to do to make sure that fight night comes around and you don't start having flashbacks? You don't start worrying about what happened? And
well, I don't know. I can sit here and tell you a little theory all day, can't I? But we're not there yet, so I know I'm doing a lot of preparations in the gym that I've not done before, and outside the gym, I'm ticking every single box that I can possibly tick, and that's all I can do. Right now, I don't know. I'm telling you what I can imagine it to be like. I imagine everything to go smooth. I've not done it yet though, so I don't know. So I can, like I say, I can sit here and tell you till I'm blue in the face about how good it's going to be and how I'm going to be able to overcome stuff mentally, but I don't actually know until July 22nd, but I'm preparing the best way that I can possibly prepare.
Have you learned to trust your knee? Because there's a difference between physically being able to work with it and mentally getting over those little hiccups that you might have.
Yes, massively. And that's something that I didn't have before. Everyone just usually asks about the pain and stuff, but the pain wasn't actually the bad thing. It was the trust in the knee. A lot of the time I was worried that it was going to give way and stuff. This was like before I fought blades, because I had a bad knee for a long time. So it's so nice to be able to have trust in my body and be able to step and kneel and spring up and explode and do all the great stuff that you can do with two legs, which I've not been able to do until post-surgery. So that's amazing.
I know you've spoken about that it was an ongoing thing. I think you could tell on the night when you went down, the way you looked at it, it was almost like, I knew this was going to happen at some point.
Yeah, that was gone as then. That was gone. I was expecting that to happen at some point, but I was expecting it to happen in private. Ideally, you want that stuff to happen without loads of people watching you. Especially like opponents and stuff. That's the issue. Is like, that's why I took my time to come back, because if my opponents got injured publicly, you better believe that I'm bombing across that cage and trying to hurt that again, which I'm fully expecting from my opponents as well. So I wanted to make sure that everything was 100%, more than 100% before I can even consider coming back. So that's why I give myself a little bit more time. That's why I didn't fight on the previous London card, because I wanted to make sure I'm 100% confident before, Tybura tries to kick me in it.
Has it given you a bit of an appreciation for what people who've gone through something similar had to deal with?
It's not easy as an athlete. I think especially as an MMA athlete, everything's your whole life. Well, maybe not just MMA, maybe any athlete. Everything in your life is kind of geared towards that. And when it's not there, it's testing. It's definitely testing mentally and physically. To have nothing to do is something that I struggled with a lot before. When I started rehab and stuff, it was good because I had a goal then. I had, right, I've got to get my knee better, got to get back on the match training, especially because my physio, he kept giving me targets to hit. Like,
right, so you have a program.
Yeah, like I spoke to him early and stuff, and like my dad spoke to him early, and he's like, listen, Tom needs a goal, you know, like he needs something to progress towards. And he was like, right, in 2 weeks, we're going to do this with the leg. We're going to press this amount of weight. We're going to do this hopping. We're going to do this walking back. Do all the rehab stuff that we were doing. But when I had nothing apart from rest, that's when I found it really tough. But that was only a few weeks, to be fair.
Have you ever gone through something in your life that's kind of held you in good stead to go through a setback like this?
No, not really. Not really, to be honest. This was tough, but at the same time, it's life, innit? People go through a lot worse stuff. I try to keep that in mind, as bad as it sounds, that like there's a lot of people worse off than me. It's just a knee, it's just a sport. Let's try and be realistic to what it is. No one's dying, nobody's seriously hurt. We can come back from it, everything's good. The ego's injured, but we'll get back from that July 22nd, definitely.
Rehabbing the ego live at the arena.
The ego will definitely be getting some rehab that it needs. But yeah, I feel good and ready to go.
Yeah, I spoke to one of my colleagues a few weeks ago, and you were talking about a conversation you had with Tyson Fury. Mm-hmm. That kind of helped you get your head around all this. Could you kind of give us a bit of what was said there?
Tyson was just telling me, look, you're going to come back. And, you know, it was only... I got a lot of inspiration from a lot of people, to be honest. I don't just want to like pick out the big dogs in the world and go, oh, this person messaged me and start name dropping. Because a lot of famous people spoke to me, but a lot of non-famous people spoke to me as well. So it was very much appreciated. Anyone who took like time out to give me encouragement, say it's going to be all right, told me not to worry. Like Tyson Fury said some really nice words, but it wasn't anything spectacular that someone who nobody knew would say. You know, people were just saying, you know, you'll be back, don't worry about it, do your rehab, you know, you still got plenty of time, all that kind of stuff. You know, there was nothing coming from him, obviously, was very nice, but I got a lot of encouragement from a lot of people, which I really appreciated.
Fantastic. Do you feel reinvigorated though?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm so hungry to, I didn't realise how much I loved this sport until I was unable to do it. Like, I had no idea how hungry I was until, because it was all happening so nice for me. You know, I had 6 UFC fights, all smooth, everything running good. We're taking out contenders, we're beating former champions, we're finishing everybody, main eventing in the home country, everything's good. I'm getting bonuses, I'm doing world records for the fastest finishes and all kinds, and everything was going all smooth. And you know, I don't think I really had chance to like appreciate and really see what was important to me and what wasn't. And now I'm like, man, I need this in my life, and I can't wait to go and do it again.
Marcin Tybura, how did we get to this opponent?
So, do you want the long version or the short version?
What's the best version?
We'll do the medium. I'll shorten it down. So, when I fought Volkov, it's when all the Russia stuff started happening. Like, people started banning Russians from competing globally in any form of competition, from sports to all kinds of different stuff. So they brought over Tybura as a backup fighter then. And the closer the fight got, the more people started realising, oh, there's a Russian like headlining in London. And people started trying to come in the way of it then. So at first it was like definitely fighting Volkov. And then towards the back end of the week, when the fight was like approaching, it was like, it might be Tybura. Like, it's looking for 50-50 whether it's going to be Tybura. And obviously, everything went well with Volkov. The fight went ahead and stuff. But Tybura still got paid for it. And obviously, mentally, I had to start like almost preparing for both guys a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, we could end up with a last-minute switch over here. So Tybura got paid, and then he went back, did some interviews and stuff, and started saying that he thought he would have beat me and stuff like that if we would have fought. And he got the money, and it just didn't quite sit right with me, to be honest. I feel like we had like unfinished business a little bit. And then the UFC London, the previous one, when I didn't fight, started coming up, and I was coming down here to do some stuff, some interviews and stuff, and I got asked who I want to fight next. So I thought,
I better start looking into who's available.
Yeah.
And I could see on the websites that like most of the division ranked higher than me were already matched, so they were unavailable. And I started looking down the rankings a little bit, started seeing that other people were unavailable as well. So there was only really Tybura in the top 10 who's free. Obviously, I want to fight someone in the top 10. So I said, oh, well, me and Tybura have got unfinished business. Like, let's go for that. So I asked the UFC. The UFC initially said that they don't know if Tybura is like a big enough deal to main event kind of thing. So I then said, no problem, I don't mind not main eventing, that's fine. And then I think they didn't have anyone else to main event, and then they said they're going to check some other opponents out. The other opponents said no, so back to Tybura, and that's how the fight happened.
So who else were you looking at?
So obviously Cyril Gane, but he's coming off a loss, so I think he wanted a bit longer. I don't know, it's difficult to say because they don't actually tell me, the UFC.
Right.
It was just like, we'll check out our options and come back to you. And then they came back to me and just said, no one else is available. It's going to be. So I don't know if it's like, I don't think, mate, I don't want to be that guy who's like, everybody's scared of me. Because it's not always like that. Other guys have got stuff going on in their lives. They might be nursing an injury. They might have a holiday coming up. They might be working on another fight or a new contract or whatever. So I'm not out here saying everyone's scared of me. I'm just saying the other guys weren't available at the time. So that's why Tybura was going ahead.
Tybura's beat some really good guys.
The guy's good, mate.
He really has.
The guy's really good.
What have people got wrong about him? The people who he's beaten, what have they got wrong about Tybura?
They think he's an easy fight, and they underestimate him.
Why is that his reputation, that he might not be the absolute elite? Because
he's won 7 out of his last 8, mate. Yeah. That's a lot of fights in the heavyweight division, and the only one he lost was a split decision to Volkov, and Volkov's legit. And I think his style isn't like mega explosive, so he doesn't get like, don't get me wrong, he's knocked guys out in the past, but he's not known as like some thunderous puncher or anything. He's just a bit of a grinder, you know. A lot of the time he's in quite boring fights. Maybe not boring, but it's not boring for me, but for the fans maybe it's a little bit more boring than other fights. And he's got a bit of a messy style, but the guy is really, really tough. The guy actually has like a high fight IQ as well. And people take him lightly, and they think they can just knock him out. And the way he wins his fights is people look past him. They go in there trying to knock him out. They can't. They gas, and he takes over and wins. So I can't be doing that. I'm taking him deadly seriously.
Tell us about the preparation for this fight, because if you follow you on social media, every day you're seeing images of you in the gym with some unnecessarily large human beings.
Some big boys there. Some big boys knocking around, yeah. So before, I was struggling for heavyweights to train with, and kind of my dad took over the role of getting people in. And I mean, we was always trying to get people in before, but my dad kind of took the lead on that, and he's just done such an amazing job, to be honest with you. Like, my dad has always coached me from the beginning, but he kind of took a lead on that aspect, and he's just been unbelievable. Like, the guys he's been bringing in, and my dad's took like such a great role in bringing great atmosphere to the gym as well. Like, the guys want to be in the gym. It's not like we're not dragging them in there, mate, and beating them up. Like, these are guys who want to be in there. They want to learn. So we've got some really, really good bodies to mess around with.
It sounds obvious that, of course, you'd have a bunch of heavyweights in there training, but there aren't that many 18-stone talented guys, right?
It's not that easy. Luckily, we've got guys coming from all over the place, you know what I mean? We've got Russian guys over. We've got guys travelling from the northeast on the regular, guys travelling from...
I love that. People from all over, Russia, the northeast.
Yeah.
It's a real mix. Exotic stuff.
Where else? Yeah, Russia, the northeast, really. These guys are really good, like legit heavyweights, though. We're not just talking about... I mean, it's quite easy to get big guys you can beat up, but to get big guys who are legit, like skill-wise as well, this is unheard of. And I'm really, really happy with the camp that we've got together, and it's really good.
What do you make of the heavyweight scene at the moment? Because it has changed dramatically since your last fight. When you last fought, I think Pavlovich was a week away from fighting Derek Lewis. We didn't know where John Jones was. Francis was the champion. Well, what do you make of the scene now when you look at it?
The heavyweight generally moves quite slow, I think. Especially at the top, it's all been like kind of clogged up for a little bit. And now it's just gone wide open. Like, it's really, really good. I think... maybe it might be a little bit slow with this Stipe and John Jones thing. I don't know. I don't really know where that's going. But the amount of contenders in the division, like you can't even call these guys prospects or up and comers, like legit young contenders, not guys who are at the end of the career, not former champions who have had 700 fights fighting on the back end of the career. These are like guys who are not even in the prime yet. Yeah. Like these are guys who are just before the prime and have something to prove. Like what an exciting time to be a heavyweight contender. Like,
who are the guys you're looking at? You're like, you weren't quite there last year. By the time I get to the top, you're going to be there with me.
I think Spivak's very good. Even though we fought, I think he's very good. And I think he seems to be improving a lot as well. I think this guy Almeida, he's definitely legit as well. He's very good. The thing is, you never, even if you lost a couple, you're never too far away from, in the heavyweight division, if you're in the top 10, top 15, you're 1 or 2 wins away from like the top of the division. So I think guys like Taito Ivasa, if he can string a couple together, obviously Cyril Gane, he's already been at the top, Curtis Blades, Volkov is very good. Yeah. Volkov's, he's gone straight back on a tear. Like he lost to me, a couple of knockouts since, he looks brilliant. So these guys are all like legit guys, and like I say, top 15 in the heavyweight division, 1 or 2 good performances, you're back up there.
What impact, if any, has Francis leaving the UFC had on the way you see your career? And what I mean by that, I think, is by the time you get to a title shot, let's say 12 months, 18 months away, if John Jones has fought Stipe and then retired, is the biggest fight in the heavyweight division not against Francis Ngannou?
Well, I would imagine he'll be doing his other stuff by then, won't he? Whether it's boxing or his PFL stuff that he's doing at the moment. Like, I think, see, MMA moves really quick, doesn't it? Like, really, really quick. And people get forgotten about quick as well. As sad as that is, that's just the way it is. It's like people, like there's so much going on every week, like week in, week out. It's big news, big fights all the time. And I'm not saying he'll be forgotten about in here, because he won't, but the heavyweight division will have a lot more big fights in the next year than probably what Ngannou's up to. So maybe he'll fight once in the next year, whereas, you know, there's so many contenders right now in the heavyweight division in the UFC that it's really hard to say, I think.
But Francis would still have a pretty legit claim of saying, I'm number 1 now.
He's timed it well.
Especially if John has moved on.
He's definitely timed it well. He's timed it well, his exit. But I want to see that fight. I want to see John Jones and Francis Ngannou. I just hope that can happen one day, but it's not looking good at the moment, I don't think.
Do you think the offer they'll be able to make in terms of this is what someone fighting Francis will earn, do you think that's going to attract some big names over there?
I was actually talking about this to somebody before, not an interview, just talking to my friend about it. And I think that for me personally, I have aspirations, and I think it's very achievable to be UFC heavyweight champion of the world, for me personally. If I had any doubt in that, I would be trying to make a lot, like, I'd be going, like, for me, that trumps money. Being the best in the world, I put that above. Obviously, I want to make money as well. Yeah. But I put that a step above making X amount of money per fight.
But isn't the issue here that if you become UFC champion, let's say you don't beat John Jones, you beat somebody else, fantastic achievement. Yeah. But Francis Ngannou still exists.
Yeah, and he's still, I mean, it's tricky.
Is he not the guy who needs to be?
It definitely puts the UFC in a tricky spot, but I think that kind of pushes everybody up, I think, a little bit maybe. I don't know, but I think there'll be guys looking to jump ship. Like, what I was trying to say with that is, like, if I didn't genuinely think I had a go at becoming the UFC heavyweight, if I didn't think that I could achieve it, I might look at jumping it. I might look at jumping ship myself. So I think maybe that's going to push the UFC payment up a little bit. Hopefully, like that. I think that's good for everybody. And I think even like this Jake Paul stuff and all this Misfit stuff, like, I don't particularly agree with it, but I think it's good for combat sports. Like, I don't watch it personally. I don't follow any of these guys or any of that stuff. I don't know what they're up to, but it's getting eyes on the sport, and they're putting the figures out there how much they're getting paid. And I think that overall that's good for everybody. And I don't think that fighters should be like hating on other promotions for
stuff like this, because we're all working collectively together as a combat sports industry, and we should be able to like search the market a little bit and see what works best for us.
Mm-hmm. But as it stands at the moment, if the PFL have got your number, they shouldn't bother calling it.
No, don't call me, because I'm more than happy with my quest to be the best in the world, and I'm going to achieve it. If I had any doubt in that, I'd be after money.
Yeah.
I'd be going looking for money, looking for the best deal that I can, because, like you say, potentially that could be out there. I've never experienced it. Obviously, I've got contracted with the UFC. I'm very happy with that. The UFC are in my opinion, that's where the best fighters in the world are. That's where I want to be, competing against them guys. But if I'm in it for money, then there may be other options.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's good for everybody.